Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, along with your City Manager for the City of Oshkosh, Mark Roloff. Thanks for being here, Mark.
Great to be here, Andy.
Well, we've got a lot coming up today, and in the first half of today's show, we'll talk about some municipal news updates, and in the second half, we'll come back and talk about some agenda highlights from the upcoming Tuesday, July 13th Common Council meeting. So the first thing we're talking about today is we're looking for public input for the proposed uses of the American Rescue Plan Act funding, and I understand that the city is receiving a fairly sizable amount of funding with that.
Yeah, the city is receiving about $20.5 million, and while it is certainly a lot of money, there are many uses that are potentially able to be used for. So we want to get some public input and see what everybody thinks. So we're doing a variety of things to make this happen. We've got an online Polco survey that we're encouraging people to complete and give us, what they think about, which are most important types of things, and help us maybe prioritize some of those things. But in addition to that, we're also asking people to give us their general comments through a Polco survey, but also some specific ideas. We've got a citizen feedback form right there on the city's website. That's under our hot topics, so that's another way of providing input to us. And then there's also the ARPA funding application form. That's for nonprofit groups, community groups, neighborhood associations, and that's also available on our city website. So we've got a variety of ways for people to give us their input on what they would like to see. And I think that that's important, that we get an idea of the whole range of possibilities that people think. And certainly, priority, and certainly federal priority is people who are impacted by COVID. Certainly the community, the city of Oshkosh was. So what impacts are there, and how can we help address some of those impacts that were there?
Mm-hmm. Do you anticipate designating use for all of the funding that's coming in?
Not immediately.
Okay.
We have until the end of 2024 to commit the dollars, which means we've identified what it should be used for. And we have all the way until the end of 2026 to actually spend the money. So there is a little bit of time. Meanwhile, there's also what I would call delayed effects from COVID that maybe we haven't even seen yet. A good example that I can cite now is room tax dollars. We've been impacted a great deal by conventions canceling, and they're not coming back as quickly as we would like. So that impact's going to be multiple years. So we won't even know the true impact of what COVID has done to tourism for a couple of years now. So I think it would be premature to commit all the funds anyway too early.
All right. Well, we'll stay tuned, and we'll continue to encourage folks to participate in that survey and offer some feedback. Okay, another interesting area that we're looking to develop in the city here is the city's Redevelopment Authority has chosen a recommendation for the 43 East 7th Avenue area, and it looks like they have a recommendation.
Yeah, the Redevelopment Authority technically owns the property there, so they put out a request for proposal. We got 5 really good proposals, but one stood out to them. It was from Terrence Wall Enterprises out of the Madison area, and this company's done several projects around the state, and this is what they proposed for our site. Now, this is a very general rendering or overview of the site, but I think what the Redevelopment Authority really liked about this one was the fact that it had a lot of open space available, and some of that public space. Now, most of them had mixed use, and I think that's what we were asking for. These are some renderings of what they envision for the area, and they also have done something very similar like this in downtown Middleton. So they call it, for our purposes, the mill on Main. This is the Middleton Center that they put together. Pretty comparable type of design that they're looking for, but mixed use. You've got a little bit of commercial,
Okay.
a little bit of residential, but I think it was really that open space concept that that appealed most to the majority of the members of the RDA.
Okay. And so really this plan might evolve over time a little bit.
It absolutely will evolve. You know, the first thing that the RDA needs to do is to give the Terrence Wall Enterprises an option on the property so they can do their due diligence to see if there are any things that are of concern to them. And that may very well change some design features. I know that there was something in every single proposal that we saw that we liked. And I think there might be some questions about, well, can you add that feature? We really like yours, but we like this feature of this other developer.
Right.
Can you incorporate those things? But obviously that's going to impact everything else going on. It'll impact costs and things like that. And of course, anything related to the soil conditions is certainly going to be those things. So
Right.
we'll give them time to review the feasibility of the project. There may be some give and take. Eventually what will happen is a development agreement will get created.
Okay.
And through that process, a tax increment financing district, a TIF district, will very likely get done. That's part of the proposal that every application had envisioned. So we'll take a look at what they're continuing to evolve with, and we'll keep working with them, and then eventually it'll go to council for a review and negotiation of a development agreement, and then approvals by the Plan Commission, which also gets an opportunity to review this as well.
Okay. So it's somewhat complex, but we'll keep tabs on it and see as it develops. Okay, another new exciting thing is the Whitman Regional Airport Terminal recently opened and had a ribbon cutting.
Yeah, and it's a lot more modest than it was before
Sure.
when it was a commercial type of airport. But it's a single-story, 12,500 square foot building, and this is primarily a general aviation airport to start with. But it'll have a new terminal with space for Bachelor Flight Service, the airport administrative offices. There is a small rental car operation and meeting rooms for the general public. And this is right from the ribbon cutting that took place over there, and we're so happy that they're part of it and part of our community. And the new facility is opening just in time for the return of AirVenture. So we're excited about that. So they're going to be showing it off during EAA week, which is July 26th to August 1st.
Okay, and that's coming up very quickly here. All right. Also, the city has recently launched a new water monitoring system called AquaHawk. And I know that the subscriber or the users of this new service, the numbers are building very quickly here.
They are. As of July 7th, we had 533 of our water customers already registered.
Okay.
And what AquaHawk does is it monitors your water usage and then can give you an estimate of your bill really anytime during the billing cycle, because it looks at your current water consumption. And if there's any water usage that might be going a little awry, if it's a little more than usual, you can set a threshold and it'll send you a text message or a phone message alerting you to that. And that's what's really good about it, because let's say outdoor hose got left on, or a toilet has a slow leak, and a lot of water leaks out with a toilet. A lot of people don't realize that, but it'll alert you, and you can put a threshold that'll give you that warning. And I'm one of those users. I set it up and put a really low threshold to see how it worked, and it alerted me right away.
Okay.
So much so that I had to raise the threshold because it was a little too sensitive. But
it works.
Oh, it absolutely works. And I was away for a weekend, so I was able to see that I had zero usage one day, which tells me that when there should have been no water being used, there was no water being used. So that's what's really good about this. And the fact that you can get these warnings really will help you identify any problems. And it can be used remotely, so you can monitor it while you're on vacation.
Sure.
You can use your phone to monitor it. There's so many ways that you can monitor your water usage, and it'll help you conserve water and save you money, and that's what it's all about.
Right. And I signed up for it also myself, and I could see that as I began watering the garden, the usage started to go up a little bit. So it is quite accurate, and it's very, very helpful for water customers.
Yeah, and you can take a look at the Hot Topics page on the city's website about all about it and how to register. You can register right there. It's really easy, and it'll sign you up in no time. And then I think you confirm that you've got it, and then you're good to go, and you can start monitoring it. So I encourage you to sign up for it. It's a really great service. And
there is a comprehensive FAQ sheet there as well that should answer a lot of the questions that folks might have about it to kind of help them out. So, all right, very good. Well, speaking of things happening in the summer and that sort of thing, we have the Oshkosh Parks have a lot going on. And I know that they have a family movie night event coming up.
A lot of great family events going on at the parks, but it starts with family movie nights at the Leach. July 9th is the next day with a dog's journey, and July 30th with Onward. So a couple great evenings to just enjoy the Leach Amphitheater and just hang out with your family and watch a movie. But there's other things going on as well.
Right. The Brews on the Bay over at Menominee Park, they have some free concerts and things.
Yeah, that was very well received for the first event, and now the next event is on July 14th, 5 to 9 p.m. at the Kiwanis Shelter, and live music from 6 to 9 p.m. There's live music, there's food trucks, there's yard games, and there's beverages for sale. So a lot of great ways to enjoy the outdoors, and great music to go with it. It's a great family event, and I know the first event, I know, Andy, you attended. It was really very well received by the public.
It was, yeah.
Get there early. That's my advice to you, because it's a lot of fun. And, you can see the families just hanging out, listening to music. They're lakeside. It's just Menominee Park's just fabulous.
Yeah.
And it's a great family event.
Sure. And speaking of concerts and music, actually there's a concert series on Tuesday nights over at the Leach Amphitheater, Live at the Leach.
Live at the Leach, it'll resume on July 13th with the band Grand Union, and it's going to continue through the summer. So keep an eye out for the different events that are going to be going on during the Live at Leach series. But again, another family type of event where people can just go enjoy a summer evening under the stars at Leach Amphitheater.
Sure. And folks also may have heard of the Kids from Wisconsin, and they're performing on July 18th.
Yeah, so Kids from Wisconsin generally get here every year or two. We obviously missed them last year, so they're coming back. They're excited. They get to perform. They didn't get to do that last year, so we're very happy to welcome them back on July 18th.
And they're at the Leach Amphitheater as well. And then also the Menominee Park Zoo is open, free admission, and there are a lot of new things over there this year too.
Mark's Tips, get over and see the new bald eagle as well as the wolf exhibit. We have new wolves, and I know it's been hot where they haven't been too active, but boy, the weather's gotten nicer, the wolves are active. It's fun to watch. I mean, they're playing with each other, just having so much fun. I mean, they're pretty mean-looking animals, but boy, they know how to have some fun.
Right.
So enjoy Menominee Park Zoo, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Sunday, and admission is free thanks to the Tom and Penny Herrenberg Foundation.
Sure. And keep an eye on their Facebook page, because they have a lot of educational events going on, and you can keep tabs on what their offerings are through their Facebook page. The Pollock Community Water Park is also open.
Yeah, it's going to be open through August 18th. Check Facebook for a list of events. Just be aware that with staffing issues, we may have to close down some parts of the site, but we want everybody to enjoy the summer, and so far it's gotten, people are happy to have Pollock Water Park back, and so families are enjoying it, so come on back and enjoy all that Pollock has to offer for you.
Okay, very good. Well, Mark, recently we had the 4th of July, and there were some great events. It was nice to have events back again for the 4th, and we really thank Festival Foods and the Rotary Clubs for the fireworks display.
Once again, Festival Foods is the main sponsor for the fireworks show, but we had a little extra long program this year thanks to some of the Rotary Clubs had some funds that were left over from actually last year that we weren't able to use.
Okay.
So they saved them up and they made additional donations for an even bigger show, and it was spectacular. Parks departments had food trucks out there for families to go and get food, and then before that we had the successful parade on Main Street and Irving Avenue all the way to the park. So we're so excited that Oshkosh Media was able to tape that, and I think everybody was so happy to be out and just celebrate our country's birthday. And I guess you guys taped it and are still showing it on our YouTube channel.
That's right. Yeah, just a little shameless plug here that you can watch the 4th of July parade on Life TV, and schedules are available on our website, oshkoshmedia.org. And then you can also check our YouTube channel and watch on demand. So, all right. Then also, Mark, we have some surveys that are available on Polco. A couple things going on there. We were looking for public input.
Like we mentioned earlier, the ARPA Community Input Survey, getting ideas for what we should do with our COVID relief dollars. And then there's also a recent survey, Bikes on Sidewalks. Get your opinions on that. I know that's been an issue of late. So we're just looking for what your thoughts are about that topic.
Okay. And then also we continue to encourage folks to find information about getting COVID-19 vaccinations and so forth.
Absolutely. You can go to wcvaccine.org. That's the county's website with information about vaccines. And they're continuing the walk-in Wednesdays over at Sunnyview Expo Center through July. And you can get free transportation to vaccination appointments through Go Transit. And we encourage people to do that as well. We want people to get their vaccine if that's something they want to do, and we hope they do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mark, I think we're going to take a quick break here, and that wraps up the first half of our show. Please stay with us, and we'll be right back with some agenda highlights from the upcoming Tuesday, July 13th Common Council meeting. You're watching the City Manager's Report.
Holding a phone takes precious attention away from the road. That's why handheld cell phone use is now illegal in Wisconsin work zones, and fines start at $40. Driving deserves your undivided attention. It's about safety for workers and for all motorists. So when you see orange cones, please put down the phone. The Wisconsin DOT urges you to help us achieve 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads.
And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's take a look at some agenda highlights from the upcoming July 13th Common Council meeting. Looks like we're starting off the meeting with a workshop at 5 o'clock p.m.
The council's asked for workshops through July early to go over capital improvement requests from the departments. So this was an outfall of our June 29th workshop. So they just want a little more information. So we're going to do that and just keep giving them detail before the capital improvement program goes before the Plan Commission in August.
Okay, and that will be televised as well, as you see there on the screen. Okay, and then also there's a presentation toward the beginning of the meeting about the destination assessment. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The Convention and Visitors Bureau received a grant from the state of Wisconsin to do a destination assessment. And part of it was, do we need to review our tagline as Wisconsin's Event City? But it went really beyond that, and it said, what can we do to make Oshkosh a more attractive destination? So there were a variety of recommendations, and Amy Albright, the executive director of the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau, will be there to make a presentation to talk about some of the findings. And I think some of them are just some things that we can do to make it more attractive and easy for visitors to enjoy a stay here and maybe even stay longer. And then they also made some observations about creating what's called greater public space for public activities. And they used one example from Rapid City, South Dakota, that gives them an idea. So if that looks like maybe Opera House Square, it's not. It's Rapid City, South Dakota. But what we can do to make it more active and adding amenities in an area of the downtown is one of the suggestions they make. So I'm real anxious to hear more about it and really tell the story to the public so they understand some of the recommendations. And as we go forward, what we can do to maybe implement some of these items to make our community more attractive.
Looks like it might be an opportunity for some brainstorming and idea forming.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the whole idea, is to get that get the creative juices flowing.
Okay, very good. Then we have a resolution for a personal storage facility. I understand this is the former Shopco site.
Yeah, it is. And big box stores, there's always challenges when they close and what you do next with them. But they've found a good adaptive reuse, and this is for personal storage. So it's not like you're going to have a bunch of garage doors there. The doors of the former Shopco are still going to remain in place, and that's where people will get in and out. So the idea is to make a useful site for it, and it seems like personal storage is still very popular, and maybe it'll go back to retail another time, but for the time being, it makes sense that it's not going to look out of place, and there'll likely be some retail on the front of it as things expand in the future. So we're excited to see what happens next.
Okay, all right. The next step in that property there. All right, and then we're looking at a land acquisition. I understand that this is part of the expansion of the new parks facility.
Right, the new parks facility is its administration as well as operations. We need a bigger footprint, and so we were approached by one of our neighbors to actually purchase their house, tear it down, and make it expandable for the parks building. So we've reached agreement with them on the price, and we're taking it through the process. It will cost us $100,000, but this will enable us to kind of square off the footprint of that area, because the parks department practically surrounds in all four areas of the house. So it'll make sense to add that to our site plan.
Okay, and we'll keep tabs as the parks facility develops, and we'll keep an eye on how it comes together. All right, and then we have a resolution, an implementation plan for, is this a Popeyes restaurant?
This is the Popeyes restaurant.
Okay.
We set some pretty high standards that the Plan Commission wanted to see for that area immediately surrounding Oshkosh Corporation. And I know there were some people that said, well, we don't think, it needs to be better than that. But we put some very high standards in, and Popeyes essentially said, we're willing to raise the bar for our restaurant, and this is a rendering of what it'll look like. So you can see a lot of brick, a lot of natural stone and things like that. Sure. To make it look nice. Plan Commission took a good strong look at it, and they want to be in the Oshkosh Avenue corridor, and we're excited to see what they can bring and spruce up the area.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on that one as well. So then there's also a resolution approving some funding for a traffic safety plan implementation. And I understand this is for Jackson Street.
This is the Jackson Street corridor that the neighborhood association felt very strongly about wanting to change some things. Okay. And we had a traffic study done. So the Jackson Street corridor study said that from Church Avenue all the way up to Murdoch, this is just the Church to New York Avenue, but to do what's called a road diet, which basically replaces 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, with 1 lane in each direction, and then a multi-turn lane that will enable everybody to turn without having oncoming traffic coming their way.
Okay.
It's proven to be very successful on several streets in town, including Murdoch and 9th Avenue and Sawyer Street. And so after a lot of review, we felt that this is appropriate to move on. The Neighbor Association felt very strongly about that. And so the council felt strongly enough that they were willing to commit funds in our capital improvement program for neighborhood improvements, because this is so important to the neighborhood. So this funding will enable this to happen.
Okay. And as far as a timeline, we'll have some more information forthcoming on that.
Yeah, we still have to do the bidding and whatnot, but so you'll hear about that. But we want people to be aware we are going to put a road diet out there. I know not everybody's going to be happy about that, but we want to get the word out.
Okay, very good. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. All right, and then we have an ordinance later on in the meeting for location, and I understand that this is the possible location for relocation of the day-by-day warming shelter.
Yeah, this is a zone change. This is property that's immediately adjacent to Court Tower, the Housing Authority property. It's at the corner of CP and Broad Street, right next to the railroad tracks. So we feel it's an appropriate place. It's near a lot of social services. It's also in an area where I think it would be challenging to develop otherwise. Okay. So they've provided a rendering, and a lot of people might say, well, why is Day by Day doing a new building? And I think they did a very effective job of explaining that. For a warming shelter of this nature, you want a lot of open space, and some of the older buildings in town don't lend itself to that. In fact, it would cost more to retrofit a building than it would be to build a new building. So the Day by Day shelter board of directors, private citizens who care deeply about addressing homelessness in our community, identified a way to get this done. And so the first step in the process is to rezone it. The council and the plan commission will eventually consider. The plan commission has already viewed it. The council will then consider approving the site plan, and then Day by Day has to go through a fundraising process there that they're in the midst of doing.
And homelessness really is a topic that's important for us to be focusing on.
The council has recognized, especially after everything going on with COVID, that we do have a homeless population that we need to deal with. It's not going away. We know that there are problems that spill over into the community, and we're trying to minimize those. If we can get some of these folks off the street into a shelter, and then give them the assistance they need to get out of that cycle of homelessness, that
right.
It's not going to get any better until we try to improve on it. And I think there are a lot of people in town that want to address the whole continuum of care that we need for our homeless community. It's not just getting them off the streets for the night, it's getting them off the streets permanently so they have some steady, reliable housing and get the services to keep them off the street.
Okay, all right, very good. And then we also have an ordinance looking at small solar energy systems, and I understand the Sustainability Board has been involved in this.
Well, a few years ago, we put into our code that we were going to require conditional use permits for solar panels. And I think there was a lot of misunderstanding about what they were going to be and everything. And it's proven, some of the concerns proved to be unfounded. The Sustainability Board said, maybe we don't need to go through a big, elaborate process. And frankly, they're right. So the idea is to streamline that process and have somebody just come in, give us a drawing, they get a building permit, and they're ready to go with their solar panels. And that's what we're going to help them do.
Okay, all right. And then we have another item later in the meeting, taking a look at inactive liquor license non-renewal. How can folks receive a liquor license if they need one?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is that we're looking at licenses that are basically not being used, and having hearings to not renew those and then put them back into the pool. If that business wants to come back and get a license, good for them, and we want to encourage them.
Sure.
But if you're not using them, we need to put them back into the pool so that anybody can do it. It used to be that we'd have one license and a bunch of people would be going after it and competing for it, rather than creating a pool of them. Rather than individual businesses hoarding them, we have a pool now that people can come in, and we've got like 8 of them available right now. So somebody can come in if they've got a business idea that's going to involve a liquor license. We want them to come in and have it available to them. And if they pass all the inspections and the background checks, they can start operating, and then we can keep those flow of liquor licenses available for prospective businesses. And that's what this is all about.
Okay, all right. Well, that should help out our local establishments looking to acquire a license. So, all right. Well, I think that's about the time that we have for the show today, Mark. Thank you again for being here.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. And again, that Common Council meeting is coming up this Tuesday, July 13th at 6 p.m. And that is being held in person at City Hall with the option for remote participation by the public. You can watch that live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen to it on the radio, which is Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online, and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. So thanks again for joining us today, and join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report. We'll see you next time.